Yeah. Sometimes it takes several takes before the director is clear on which performance or nuance from the actor they prefer. There are many, many professional directors out there who they go, you know, I like that, but on the other hand, I like that as well, so we're going to keep both. And they might be vastly different, and it comes down to edit. You know, which one do we go with? They don't necessarily know until editing time. Sometimes you want a variety to play with in edits. In either case, when you move the camera to get coverage from a different angle, this is the time to make sure the actor matches their movements and performance. So, you know, you don't want them whispering here when the camera's there, and then you put the camera there and they're screaming, because everybody knows this. If you have an actor who's brilliant and it's a comedy and they're improvising something new every time, go to a two-shot. Stage your actors so that you can get both performances at the same time. If you have more than one camera, that's a different story, but we're assuming you're only working with one camera. Okay? Always start with a wide shot to get an overview. You get an actor's best performance once they've run the scene a few times. They know they're blocking, etc. That's when you go to the close-ups. Don't do close-ups first. Okay? The directors for next week. Has to be said, some actors will do their best takes earlier. Get to know your actors and build a rapport with them. Somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio, I've heard, doesn't want to rehearse. So, if he shows up, he wants to just go straight into it. Okay? So, the point being, there'll be other actors like that. He's not the only one. There's some actors who work better with lots of rehearsal, some actors who find the spontaneity is their friend, and they will, you know, they will do early takes better. Sometimes when you've got that kind of situation, you may want to film your rehearsals, because you might get some brilliant takes from the rehearsals that you'll be able to use. Okay? And then we go to part 2, which is next week. Time to get up and put this into practice.
Mike, just a quick question there. Talking about getting the best performance is more likely going to be the first one. So if you take the wide shots first, the actual performance shots that finish up on the screen are close-ups. Which one is the first one shot?
Yes.
So how does an actor like Caprio deal with that?
Exactly. No, I mean, well, that is what you're dealing with. You're dealing, and not only are you dealing with, you know, one actor, you're dealing with several actors. So you're going to get one actor who gives their best performance early on, and you're going to have another actor who warms up and gives their performance later on, you know.
The only thing I can say about that is obviously when you're doing an established wide shot, the actor's not really acting that much during that particular part, because if he's got anything important to say, you would be closer anyway. And so he's not going to go, he might go all out, I suppose, but if he knows it's a wide establishing shot, you're only going to do that for 2 seconds. If 2-3 seconds worth, because the audience will pick up really quickly during a cap.
You're going to find actors on set who are very talkative and they're going to chat with you, and then you say, okay, picture's up, and they'll be ready. There'll be other actors who are going to hide themselves away and won't talk to you at all until you pull them on the set, and then they're ready to go. These are extremes, and you're going to get things in between. You know, there are as many different ways as there are actors. You know, and each actor has their own personality, their own preferences, their own, they're also their own level of preparedness. You know, you bring an actor on board who, let's say, doesn't learn lines very quickly. Maybe they're slightly older. Maybe they've got a very tricky monologue to say, and you haven't given them too much time. Or let's say you were planning on shooting this other scene, but now you decided you're going to move this to a different scene. You're going to get a very different animal out of that, in terms of preparedness from that actor. Whereas you'll have somebody else who, you know, they've got, you know, maybe 2 sentences, they've had the script for, you know, a week, they already know their lines, they're joking, and also, it also depends on the character they're playing. So if the character they're playing is maybe lighter and, you know, and more fun, and it's a fun role, they may well just put themselves in that fun role, you know, to just be in that mood. On the other hand, you know, you've got somebody who's about to break down crying because they know that their wife has just been murdered, right? That person may not be shooting the breeze with you right before you say action. So take those things into consideration. Everyone works differently, but also within that, it depends on their particular scene and their particular circumstances. You know, did they sleep the night before? Not your problem as the director. Is it the actor's problem? Oh yeah, because now they're thinking, I don't remember any of my lines. Where have they gone? You know, things to consider, right? Or it's a really busy set. You know, there's all sorts of hustle and bustle, and they're not getting a moment of privacy to just sort of get their thoughts together. You know, create that situation for them so that they can have that moment to be by themselves if they need to be. You know, all things. You know, a camera you can turn on and off. An actor you can't turn on and off. You've got to allow them to turn themselves on and off. You know. Any other questions?
With scripts like Sopranos,
yeah.
Do they put the kind of accents in the words, or just reading it like, you know, they have, you know, say give me as opposed to give me.
Yeah.
What do they put on?
That very much depends on the writing. There's a play called Dancing at Lunasa, which is an Irish story, and that's very much written as a, you know, I mean, if you read it, you start to talk Irish, you know. Yeah, it just gives you that feel. Sometimes it isn't, sometimes it is. It just depends. I mean, there are things you can do. Obviously, nowadays especially, it's very prevalent. If you want an Irish, you know, character, you hire Irish rather than hire English to play Irish. You know, there are definitely things you can do. You can get, you know, on professional sets, they get dialect coaches to work with them. You know, Russell Crowe had to, for Cinderella Man, work with a dialect coach for that particular part of New Jersey, which is very sort of specific, and, you know, accents can vary, you know, within like a 4 or 5 block radius. You know, Gary Oldman's another one who, you know, will say, you know, you don't say to him, do a, you know, Brooklyn accent. You say to him, do a Bensonhurst accent, and he will do a Bensonhurst accent. You know, again, it comes down to how much the actor wants to get specific and how much you require that level of specificity. Yeah. Yes.
Tom mentioned editing in the script. I remember reading somewhere once that, say you had something that was historical and you wanted somebody to sound like an Old English,
yeah.
You might write the first few lines written that way, with and then Old English accent, but then the rest of the script is written normally.
Absolutely.
And then the actor gets the idea and then just runs with it once they.
Absolutely.
So they would.
Yeah.
It might be interesting to see what the script for Guy Ritchie's one was. All the Traveller speak in it.
On that note,
what was it called? Snatch? Or,
yeah. On that note, this is a practice done in theatre a lot, but not so much by film directors. Get your actors to improvise before you start the dialogue. So let's say there's an argument going. You don't want to go action and they've got to start the argument. Get them starting the argument beforehand, and then you can cut the bit that doesn't belong in the script in edit. That way they've got the right energy level, they've got the right body language, they've got the right everything else that goes with it, and then it doesn't feel like you shouted action and they said the first line, no it's not, you know, it sort of feels like it's a little bit forced.
Yeah, on the sound, I mean, I only heard it today, on Jamaica Inn, apparently
Yes.
800 components out of the sound.
clarity.
And I don't know, because I haven't read any articles myself, if it was actors trying to do a ancient
Unfortunately, we're getting more and more mumbling actors, and that seems to be accepted, and it's never accepted any more than in a theatre. If you got, 200 rows, it's accepted to talk like this level. It's not good enough. That's very much the job of the actor, to make sure that they give the performance that is right for their framing. So if you're on a big West End stage and it's 80 feet across, then you have to, really project. And if, it's this size of room, then obviously the level of projection could be less. And if the camera's here and you're this tight, then perhaps this is enough. But, mumbling, there's no excuse for it, because however much that suits the character, if we've got no, idea what's being said, then what's the point?
It's like real math. The phone calls I get from call centres, I can't understand a word they're saying.
Yes.
So many people.
So yeah, there's technical things that just as the cameraman has to do certain technical things right, and the sound man has to do certain technical things right, the actor has to do certain technical things right. And mumbling is really inexcusable. And I've seen professional actors, like name actors do it, and you're like, hang on, the volume's on 10 and I've got to go up to 16 and play back to see if I can hear it. And sometimes you play back 2 or 3 times and go, okay, I still can't understand what was said. So yeah, it's your job to make sure, as directors, that it's clear. Because it's a
double over the top.
Sorry?
Otherwise you have to double over the top.
Yes. Yes. It's never as good because the energy level when you're in the scene is much more believable than when you have to sit in a room, watch a clip of yourself doing it, and then try and emulate how you were feeling. And in the meantime, you've gone on to do a completely different character in another film, and you're just not there mentally. So it's always, and the acoustics is never going to match. So it's always better to get it on the day, and on that note, get the performance on the day. Don't hope to reshoot or anything like that. Yeah, that's okay. So next week we've got 3 directors. Each director is going to work with the same actors, same crew. Director can pick his or her extras and place them, and hopefully you'll have 3 very different scenes. In the interest of time, I'd like each director to go with what choices resonated with you the most from the permutations offered, right? So that you don't have to go and think, okay, well, what do I want? The thing that just made most sense to you, go with that. And
who are our 3 directors?
sorry?
Who are
Can you raise your hands, 3 directors? Right, so.
Very male dominated.
These
But
are the
you
people
weren't
who
here.
volunteered. Those are the
You
people
weren't
who volunteered.
here.
Yes.
I ought to have been
Yes. Welcome back. Cry about it.
Oh, we need a copy of that so we can read back on it.
Copy of.
The options.
I can make it available to you, yes.
You can always play Ben Gay.
What? That'd be good.
Or Red Hat. You can play anything. Can I just be reminded who the crew are?
The crew.
I'm assuming you
So-
know.
Are they being fair? Everyone else.
Tom, I believe, volunteered for camera, and yourself volunteered for sound.
Are we doing lighting?
Right.
No.
The sound would take more than one person, won't it?
Yeah, but no, would it? You did sound on my film, right?
So, yeah, I mean, basically, as long as we have the equipment.
Mine was
We have enough people here.
This is 1.5.
Yes.
It's got a whole scene with those extras, so it's
Yes.
True.
So, and then we'll also need sound, like tonight to record the evening. And then
Because we're recording you as the presenter,
Yes.
as well as sound on the set
Yes.
and the sound of the actors.
Yes.
We're looking at, and I hope the directors can think about this in terms of sound. How do they want their actors to sound? Are we using radio mics or boom mics?
I would say, in the interest of time, let's use a boom.
Okay, that does need two people because then obviously you've got somebody who's holding the boom
Yeah.
and somebody who's
recording.
monitoring the levels. and
Yeah.
recording.
I mean, you know, I've seen the boom operator have an SQN around his neck and do both. So
How
it
big
can
is
be
that?
done.
How long is it sing? Because obviously with a boom. Do you want to get multiple booms?
No, we just want one boom. They're going to be nice and simple. You've got your work cut out for you, all directors, believe me. There's 40 minutes is not much time to play with in terms of, you've got to tell the director, tell the cameraman what you want from them. You've got to rehearse that. You've got to do a technical rehearsal. You've got to have a fairly in-depth discussion with your actors what you want done. And the chances are they won't understand exactly what you mean the first time. Not for any fault of theirs, but for the fact that, you know, perhaps you didn't explain it clearly enough. Yeah, basically. Because, you know, it is about communication. Yeah?
Hey, so what would he, if maybe he's directing, what do I do?
You're watching.
Do I not do any other role?
No. I mean, you can be an extra in his film if you like,
Yeah.
but you're watching.
She's going to stand in the corridor, not shoot up here.
Yeah.
Have you really established yet? Three different areas of, presumably.
It's one area.
Where? Here.
There.
Yeah.
We're going to have it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
equal.
So we have tables. Me and Jackie noticed we have tables and we have chairs. We do need some tablecloths to make it look like a coffee shop, and of course we've got coffee cups. If somebody would like to bring Coke to make it look like coffee, feel free.
I was going to say that's illegal. isn't it?
The drinking
Well,
time.
Mary can bring the Coke.
Sorry?
Mary can bring the Coke.
Yes. Any other question? Can we make sure everybody's here at 7:30 on the nose next week? It's really, you know, it's really unfair to our three directors who are, you know, trying to do this exercise if we give them 15 minutes each. So we really want to give them each 40 minutes if possible.
What time are the actors arriving?
The actors will be arriving at 7:30 on the nose, hopefully.
So who will be organising the techie stuff beforehand?
We will.
You can't get
But
literally
by
into the
email,
room
yeah?
before
By email.
7:30.
Right, so if most of us are here at 7:30, we can set up very, very quickly. We're not going to set up any sort of tracks, we're not going to put up any kind of lighting. It's really about turning the camera on. It's going to be handheld.
You've got a
And-
tripod?
Sorry?
No, not even a tripod. What about the long shot? When you're like the tripod?
Probably a tripod.
We
Yeah,
could
at
probably
least
do
tripod.
tripod. We could probably do tripod. However, if you wanted to move between the tables, then now you've got the problem of taking it off. I will leave that up to you.
Take it.
With the boom off,
Yes.
and what the shutters to keep out the shot.
Yes.
Well,
So
the
there'll
cameraman
be a
will just
monitor for the boom
the
off.
cameraman will just tell you if the boom's in shot.
Here's the thing, you've got quite a lot, as the directors, you've got quite a lot to contend with, and then you'll get an end result, which, you know, will be watched by the club afterwards, you know, maybe a few weeks down the line, and you'll get to see how successful you were in the story you were trying to tell. So it's very much,
Who's doing the edits?
yes,
One of the things that I've always seen editors do is use a monitor.
yeah,
In fact, a lot of the times, the director rather, use a monitor
yes,
because then
It's
they
a
can
frame
see.
shot.
yes. I mean, fortunately, we can pull out the LCD screen, so you know they can see it. Setting up a monitor, you know, might just take a little bit more time. Again, we want to minimise the time taken to set up, and Scratch.
What is the time?
can be talking to the actors while you're doing the setup.
How long would it take to set up? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah, the director would be talking to the actors while they're setting up. But bear in mind that the director also needs to tell the people who are setting up the scene, you know, where they want the tables, you know, and how they're going to do it. Yeah? So there's a lot to do. I'd like, you know, all directors to really think about this. If you have any questions, by all means shoot me an email. But really plan this out. And this is no different than films that you know, make yourselves. You know, you do a lot of planning ahead of time. You know, don't just show up thinking, okay, well, you know, make it happen. Really plan it. If you need to storyboard it. You have your script. You know exactly what's happening. What you put beneath the subtext of it, I'm leaving down to you.
Do you think it's not too much to leave to the day? Who's going to be extra? Who's going to be the props?
That's part of the challenge.
Oh,
That's part of the challenge.
paying actors. I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't it be a bit ambitious for professional directors to do something in that amount of time?
I think so.
That's part of the challenge. That's part of the challenge.
Have every confidence in you.
Yes.
Well,
It is misplaced.
So really, if you think about it, a director has to have, you know, has to be thinking of a lot of things at the same time. And we're putting you in that situation where you're thinking of a lot of things at the same time. So in that respect, it's quite challenging what's being asked of you.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Plan.
I'm getting a headache already.
Right.
Could I also suggest that perhaps in order to make it individual efforts, that the 3 directors do not see the previous or, well, any previous.
I'm going to leave that to the directors involved. Just as I was saying, some actors will talk to you right before a scene, and some don't want anything to do with you until you show up on set. Same thing. If you as a director feel you want to stay focused on what you're going to achieve, you're welcome to step out and, you know, spend maybe 80 minutes outside, you know.
Plus tea.
Right. But I will leave that up to you. No one's, you know,
can
no
I
one
just
has to
volunteer
sit
for a
and watch
second?
the others.
Can I volunteer to go in the middle? So 1 or 2 or the 1 or 3 or 1, 3 or 1.
I'm going to, I'll let you decide that.
Can I go second?
Huh?
Yeah.
You know.
No, what?
No, you're first.
No,
He's not first. He's not first.
Draw lots.
you go first, I'll go second. You go.
Right.
Draw lots.
The other thing is this, to go back to what Grace said, if you'd like to make some arrangements, you know, with various members of the club, you know, can you do this for us on the day so that I don't have to like discuss it? I can discuss it with you now, and then when you show up on Wednesday night, you will just know what to do. Feel free to contact other people in the club to you know, to arrange things if you want help, which you will need. Okay.
I just think that would be more real, more like, you know, usually.
In the set design and the set dressing and everything, you would have a dedicated team. You would have had meetings before.
Absolutely, you
discussed,
would.
Yeah, where
Plan that.
your
Plan
second
how you
idea
want
would
your
be dealing
tables.
with your extras more than the main director.
What the first thing?
Seats.
Chairs the spectators, coming all that way down. Or is everyone standing up?
No, we're sitting. We're sitting, we're watching.
It's a cafe.
Yeah. So the cafe is going to be here. Yeah. So the camera could be here, could be here, could be there, could be there. Ideally, I'd like it not to be there, so that we don't get the viewing audience, so it actually looks like a shot. Yeah. So really, here and here are out. So you've got this and possibly that as your options. Yeah. Now within that, you can move around. You know, you can move in slowly. You can put a wider lens on it. You can put a tighter lens on it.
But we need an entrance. So what that? We need an entrance. The person comes in.
If you decide you want an entrance of somebody coming through a door, you can use that door. If, on the other hand, it's sufficient to have somebody step around a screen, we do have a screen, but that's a isn't it?
So yeah, one of those stand-up things.
Yeah.
Banner, yeah.
So that banner can be put there, and then the actor can walk around it by way of suggesting that they entered the room. Yeah. Again, I'm going to leave it up to you how much you want to dress your set. Personally, I would prefer you to make it your own. You know, not only your interpretation, but also if you decided you have tablecloths that you like. Before you go, directors, have a look at the tables that we have, just so you get an idea of what size they are. And we have some in the storage room. Yes.
Sean, do an area shot.
Yeah. Can you fly in?
and Sean's going to bring his
I'll get tired after a while.
Yeah. And that's it. I hope it's been interesting.
It's a bit emotional.
Well,